Hello. Sorry, I was just fiddling with my settings here, trying to figure everything out.
No problem. Welcome to the session. Just me and
Thank you.
Tracy
Oh,
talking.
okay.
Hi there.
Hi.
Good. So, I'm going to touch on the first submission, which I think is due like next week, isn't it? Let me just double check. Session 6. Okay, so we've got a bit of time.
Yeah, it's still
Understand.
another 3 weeks.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So you got a bit of time to do it. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to sort of read through it, and as I'm busy reading through it, I want you guys to jump in and just ask some questions. I am recording the session. I've got all of these sessions sort of recorded as well from last year when I did the course, and I've got a YouTube playlist, and I'm going to link that YouTube playlist onto the course so that you guys can then go and have a look at those and sort of go through them and through the different sessions. And in this way, I don't sort of repeat myself, and then you can sort of have a look at them whenever you want to. And then use the live sessions for just touching base on the different assignments. If there's any issues with group work, especially issues with group work, if you're finding you've got some challenges with the group, to come online and I'll talk you through it. If it's something that's confidential, then you can drop me an email, because group work can be challenging, especially for folk that are working and they've got families and they've got limited time, as opposed to folk that might be a bit more freer, that might be a bit younger, that doesn't have those responsibilities, and sometimes there's a bit of a clash in terms of work ethic. But I am almost certain that that won't happen with you guys, right? Thumbs up. No thumbs up. Okay, yeah. Yeah. Say my so for now. All right, let's have a look at assessment 1. It is actually the thing about this is it's about limiting you not to go boss with the word count, because 1700 plus 800, that's already quite a substantial submission. So please stay within those. Unfortunately, I'm not going to give you any extra leeway. 10% over is fine, but if it's anything more than that, then it will become challenging. So 10% over under is more than okay. But obviously, if you go over by more than 10%, then things become, because I have to read through all of this stuff word for word. So please spare thought for me. Assessment outcomes, it's all about King 4, the ethical theory. So this is very much a part of it is a theoretical sort of just a submission, and then there's the case study, which is the bit of application. So it's about just writing down the stuff, understanding it, and so forth. So the first part is, so the way you're going to submit it as one single document in 2 parts. So you'll clearly mark it. And my expectation is that this is going to be a formal academic submission with a cover page and a page of contents. And I'm going to be quite firm on that, because I need you to sort of just take responsibility to make sure that it is, as I said, a form. When I say a formal academic submission, that it has a cover page, it has a page of contents on it, it has a short introduction, it has a clear sort of conclusion. You've got a part A, you've got different sections within part A, you've got part B, you've got different sections within part B. So that really is my expectation, that it is something that is sort of clearly written out and written sort of in a formal way, if that makes sense. Yuvna?
Okay. With the layout of our assignment, we would be following the template given to us by SACAP. Is that correct?
Yes and no. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you Can you guys see? I was busy trying to find the template that I created last year, and I wanted to show you guys. I just don't know where I saved it. So I just created a Word document, and that will just maybe help you. Listen, in terms of fonts, whether it is Arial or whether it is New Times Roman, that's fine by me. I prefer Arial because, again, it is a lot better to read on a page, whereas New Times Roman is a lot more, it's better for printing. So Arial, Helvetica, on a screen, it's much better, it's much clearer to read on a screen. And it's also sans serifs, which means it doesn't have the little curly feet. So it's a lot easier and clearer to read on a screen. So I prefer either Helvetica or Arial 12, 1.5 spacing. And that's about it. Unjustified, which means it's not straight. Although a white paper, in terms of format, is not quite an academic essay, so it sort of sits in between. So, I mean, unjustified text would be much better. But I do know that justified text, this is justified. So justified, you got, it's in a block, it's in a square, and it's neatly, and it looks a lot neater. So I can just, let me make a call and just say justified. So 12 Arial, 1.5 spacing, justified text with, normal margins. And that's about it. And when I say the shape of it, Tracy, I see your hand as well. When I say the layout of it, a cover page and a table of contents is sort of the basic, and then obviously your reference list at the back of it. Yeah, Tracy, you've got a question?
Okay, let Tracy go, and then I will ask it.
Yeah.
Okay. Theo, I just want to check with you because I know every educator does things a little bit differently where the word count is concerned. Because I always have difficulty with this, with the headings and your introduction. Does the headings form part of the word count? Or do we now does it form part of the word count? So when we are counting the words, basically, so it will include your headings and your introduction, and then obviously your conclusion as well. Because I know some educators are very, very strict about that. Then you must only count the words in terms of your essay, and you must exclude the headings. So if you can just clarify how you'd like the layout, please.
Includes headings, includes the text of the submission, but excludes the cover page, the table of contents, and the reference list, because those are they sit sort of outside of that. But I mean, that is why I allow the 10% over. I mean, your heading shouldn't be more than 170 words, or 2,200 words. I mean, so headings, headings should never be add more than, so that's why I say 10% over is acceptable for me. And that accounts for the headings that you're going to be using. But obviously it excludes cover page, it excludes table of contents, and it excludes the reference list, because those tend to, especially a reference list, tend to add quite a significant amount of words to the overall submission, especially if you've got maybe 5 or 6 or 7 references. All right, does that make sense, Tracy?
Perfect sense. Thank you so much.
Okay, great. Yuvna?
In terms of our heading and labeling and things like that, would you want us to say introduction, part A, professional white paper, and then continue that portion, and then like go to the next part and then create like multiple subheadings, or just like follow through with yours, like one is the South African corporate citizenship landscape, and then just give information there? Or then do we create subheadings, the definition?
No, you're going to twist yourself into knots, Yuvna. A good rule of thumb is a major and minor, or primary and secondary. And at this level for submission like this, you should only have at the most 2 levels of headings. When I say 2 levels, you'll have part A is one level of a heading, and then within that you'll have your secondary heading, which would be the South African corporate landscape, the King 4 and corporate implementation. And those would also then label the different sections in your submission as well, for the ethics and citizenship. And then you'll have part B. So you asked about, must you have an introduction for each section? So for this particular essay or for this particular submission, which has two distinct parts to it, I would look at, after your table of contents, to have a brief introduction to the entire submission, to say that this submission consists of two parts. The first part deals with corporate citizenship. The first part is a professional white paper that deals with corporate citizenship, etc., etc. And part B deals with this and this and this. And that is on a page, and then you go to a new page, and then you start part A, and then you go from there. Now, the professional white paper in itself is also like a submission with a structure, as you can see from what the essay is asking you to do. So that's what makes it, it's almost like you've got a submission within a submission. And I would follow this particular structure. So part A, you'll have part A, and then you'll have a little summary, executive summary. Now, executive summary is not an introduction. Okay, introduction is, this is what the following is about. Executive summary is a summary of what you wrote about, with key items in it, with key lines in it, with key sort of highlights in it. It's almost like it's a summary. If it's almost like if the person that you're handing this white paper to is not going to read anything but that summary should be sufficient enough for them to understand the entire thing. That takes a bit of work. But again, as I said right at the beginning, with the use of AI, as a writing buddy to help you sort of refine it, you almost leave the executive summary for last. You do everything else, and then you do your executive summary. You stick everything into AI, ChatGPT, Gemini. You say, write me executive summary of this. You take that, you work through it, you rewrite it into your own words, your own look and feel, your own voice, and then you submit that. So an executive summary is different from an introduction. Executive summary is, if somebody does white paper, if the person only reads the white paper and only reads the executive summary of the white paper, that should be enough for them to be able to make a decision or to fully understand. Maybe not fully understand, maybe like a 60-40%, 50, 60, 70% understanding of it, but it should be enough for them to be able to. So executive summaries tend to be quite dense. They tend to hold a lot of information, but in a very few words. It's a summary for an executive that doesn't have time to read the rest of the report, if that makes sense for you. So title page, and I'm going to send you guys a Word document on this, so don't stress too much about it. That I've already set up so that you can do the table of contents and you can just update it the way you want to. So title page, table of contents, a little introduction that details, but like short. I mean, it literally says this submission consists of two parts. Part A is a white paper that deals with this and this and this, and part B is a case study, like 3 or 4 sentences, not more than that. Now you go, part A, white paper on heading. And underneath that, you've got executive summary. And remember, the executive summary, you can label it, but sometimes it is unlabeled. It is just underneath the title, there's this summary text that sort of says a little bit. So you can label it executive summary, or you can just leave it as just a summary underneath the title. And then you go into the main sections, obviously, and then you write your set of recommendations and conclusions. And Now hold back on the references, because you're going to have a single list of references for both the white paper and the case study, for both section A and for section B. All right, I'm going to stop there for questions. Please ask before I carry on.
Theo, okay, if you're saying that, because I see the assessment is in 2 parts, right? So if you just go back up again, so you're saying you only want one set of references. You don't want a reference for the one part, a reference page for the one part, and a reference page for the other part. You want one reference. Okay, no, I'm good on that. And then in terms of splitting the paper, this might sound like a stupid question, because I see there's a split. Do you want an introduction on each side, or is it one introduction?
Just one short
body
introduction
and conclusion, but then we just split it based on how you want the structure to be done as per the white paper.
Yeah. So for this particular submission, I don't require a final submission. I don't require a final conclusion on everything.
Okay.
The only reason why I'm asking you to do that little introduction is to almost, if I'm not marking it, if somebody else is marking it, and they're looking at it and they go, okay, so this particular submission is in 2 parts and it consists of part A and part B. So when I turn the page now, I know that I'm starting with part A, and then there'll be a part B. There won't be a conclusion for the entire submission. There'll just be, think of that introduction as almost telling the marker that this submission that you're about to see now is in 2 parts. That's all you're telling them. It's in 2 parts. Part A is this, part B is this, and then you turn the page and off you go with part A in its structure without the references, and then part B in its structure, and part B does have a conclusion because just like part A has a conclusion, because that's a report format. As part of a report, you have a list, a set of recommendations as part of your conclusion. So it's recommendations and conclusions. Say, in conclusion, this report, and the following recommendations, and the author concludes that, blah blah blah, and the following, and the report recommends the following. And that's normally in a report format. You'll have at the end, you'll have a set of recommendations as part of your conclusion when you submit a formal report. And in this case, that needs to be included because that's part of the submission. All right. So now that I've thoroughly confused you even further, is there any questions?
Yes. Theo, there's a question from Yuvna because she has network issues, but I have the same question and I've got the same fear as well, to be very honest with you. This is very new to me. I've never done this module before. It's the first time. It's my first time studying in this field as well. So we haven't done a white paper before. Is there any way that you can show us an example without giving away too much? I know that obviously you can't give away too much of how it should, the look and feel of a white paper. Let me just see. Sorry, Yuvna's writing on the side because she's got network issues. So I'm just reading
no problem.
What she's writing.
Tracy, a white paper, it's just a name of a report. So this is a report. It's a report. It's a type of report. And in this case, it's a white paper. So a white paper is essentially a set of recommendations. It is not it is sort of, you get a white paper, a green paper and a gray paper, I think. I think it's a gray paper. So white paper is, it's almost like you're writing something, you've researched, you're writing it, and you're putting it out into the world. Say, this is based on the research. These are my thoughts. These are my recommendations based on the thing that's out there. But to answer your question, it is just simply a report. And every professional report that gets submitted, whether you submit it to the UN, whether you submit it to the City of Cape Town, whether you submit it to the government, whether you submit it to a school, whether you submit it as a consultant, consists of exactly those three sections. It has executive summary, it has contents, and it has a set of recommendations and conclusions. So what I can do is I can just go online and go and have a look at stuff that's sort of relevant and close by, and then post that for you just to have a look. But remembering that a lot of that stuff will be professionally sort of laid out in like fancy fonts and fancy colors and stuff. And I don't want to almost give you that, because then you're going to feel like, ooh, I must also go onto Canva and now do these fancy fonts and things. Whereas this is literally, it's an essay, an academic essay in a form of a report. And that is where things get gray. And when I say gray, because if I show you a report that's submitted to the UN, you'll find that there's no in-text referencing. What they would do is they would use a note, postscripts. Postscripts is those little ones and twos next to it, because it's cleaner and it is easier to read. Whereas for an academic submission, you have to use in-text referencing, according to according to blah blah, reference by. So this is where things get gray. Even though the format is a report format, it is still academic submission, which means you still have to use in-text referencing, etc. If this report was going to be submitted to the JSE, like it says here, you'll use postscripts in which you'll use that little numbers at the end of the sentences, and at the bottom you'll have the set of references written in the margins, or even right at the end you'll have a set of notes where every number has the source attached to it. And if that is if you were going to submit this to the JSE, that is what the format would look like. So if I do share with you some reports, that is what they will look like. And that is not what this is. This is a academic submission in a form of a report. And that's the best way I can describe it.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah,
I'm even more confused.
Yes. Let me, Tracy, give me until the end of the week. Let me find that Word document that I created for because I've been on this rodeo.
Yeah.
So I created it to just allay the fears and to get because the way this question is asked is just not nice, man. They should have just said, write the essay. And then it would have
not
been
you setting
easier.
up the questions. It's basically set up for you. So it's not you that's setting up the assessment questions.
No. I didn't design this course, I can tell you. I designed a few other courses. My area lies in business management, strategy, leadership. So some of the business management stuff I set up, the leadership course I set up, or I contributed towards that because we were a panel that put it together. And the higher certificate courses I helped put together as well. So and I understand why this is set up, or the question is asked in this way, because it's corporate governance, and it's kind of like corporate governance reports are like reports written by consultants, and if you look at those reports that Deloitte writes, or Anderson Consulting, or Boston Matrix, or McKinsey, if you look at those reports, they are like, if you look at them, they are a report like 17 pages or 50 pages long, well-researched report written by consultants. And you won't see an in-text reference anywhere, but it is well-referenced. And you'll find it in the postscripts. You'll find it either at the back. There's a list of sources that was used, etc. Whereas this is just an academic essay in a form of a report.
Okay. It's starting to make sense. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. Awesome. So that is section A. I looked at it, it's very straight. When I say straightforward, the questions are clear in terms of what is required, in terms of the outputs, and is nicely written, nicely broken out, because it actually tells you, provide examples, create a diagram. Please use some AI for these diagrams. The Nano Banana is absolutely amazing in terms of the type of infographics and diagrams it can create with the text. A year ago, I wouldn't use it for an infographic because they just couldn't do text. AI just couldn't do text on a picture. But now I tell you, it is phenomenal what it can do. So do get creative and use AI for that. Obviously, just make sure that you write down the prompt as part of your AI prompt sheet, as well as just reference it appropriately. So in a case like that, you would reference where the information comes from, and then you can say infographic created with Gemini, Nano Banana, or something. Please use these tools. These tools are phenomenal. They're very good to use. And if you use them judiciously, if you use them as a partner in your research, rather than asking you to do the work for you, then they're phenomenal tools, just like everything else. Just use it as a tool. Ethics, corporate citizenship, section roadback. Okay, so let me just pause on the case study. Ethical case study, 800 words, very short. 800 words are a page and a bit. Arial 12, normal margins, a page and a half is 800 words. So you don't have a lot to work with. But as I said, 10% over, so you can do 890. And again, so now this is where the discipline needs to come in. It's you can't say, oh, but for the white paper, I only use 1,500 words. So now I'm going to use 1,000 words for part B because I've got words left over. No, that's not how it works. Each section is almost independent and separate from each other. So if you didn't write the full 1,770 words for the first one, you can't carry over those words to the second part just because you want to add more words aside. So that's not how it works. So just be mindful of that. Analyze a contemporary ethical dilemma faced by a South African company. You may select one of the following: a real case from South Africa within the last 5 years. Ooh, there's many of them. There is many of them. Breads, the Adcock Ingram, Bernardo painkiller case price fixing thing. There are so many of them. There's that one about the using the photo of that girl in that advert, was a blue ribbon, using the photo of that one girl in the advert without giving her actual, without paying her for it. That was a massive thing, and the blowback that the brand received, they struggled to fix it, and that was a real ethical. It's like you wonder, people are sitting in the room around a table, a whole marketing team, many years of experience, many studies, many degrees, and they make a decision like that. You kind of have to go, what is going through your mind? So that's a good one as well. So there's lots of those, and I almost want to tell you to choose something real life in South Africa, and not to use the hypothetical case study, because there are so many, and it makes it just so more real, and you can research, you can find information on it. So yes, there is this hypothetical, but you'll find a real South African company case study in the last 5 years. Tracy?
Yeah, sorry, no, I'm just speaking, I'm being the mouthpiece for Yuvna.
Yeah.
She's asking, if we choose our own case study, should we submit it to you first for approval?
No. No, you don't need my approval. You can read through it. When you see it, you'll know. You'll know. You'll read through it and you go, these guys messed up. Or they were, because what is an ethical dilemma? Ethical dilemma is where a company makes a decision which is unethical and how they dealt with it. It is frightening how my ex-company that I worked for has been in the news many years ago when listeriosis came out and those people passed away. Tiger Brands denied anything. They said it's not a blah blah blah. They gave fixed that, and then only after the investigation they finally owned up to it. Now that's an ethical dilemma because that did untold damage to their share price, to their stakeholders, to the brand, to all of that. They lost something like 40% of the market value in a space of 2 or 3 months. They eroded so much shareholder value in that time during those whole listeriosis scenario and investigation and the subsequent sort of allegations that came out. So those are it's and maybe not just wrongdoing. It could also be like the blue ribbon scenario that I just mentioned, where I'm back again to you. It could also be like the blue ribbon scenario where they just didn't think. They used somebody's likeness and they just didn't think about the repercussions. There we go. I'm back. So yeah, please, I encourage you strongly to use a South African company, a South African example, and not to use this hypothetical case because there is so many South African examples that would be useful, that would be that's real. That's even maybe something that you had a direct sort of brush with, if that makes sense. Are there any questions on that?
Nothing from my side. Thank you.
Okay, cool. Excellent. So for this, yeah. Please use infographics. Please use diagrams, especially the decision-making process. Use diagrams. Use infographics that you can insert into. I mean, this is a nice one. I mean, this is the type of stuff that you can make with Nano Banana, and you feed it the information, and you can ask it to make something similar for you. So please do. I don't want just text, 8 pages of just text. Please add in pictures, add in, especially this. Like if you're going to use that bread case, a blue ribbon case, and the using of the young girl's likeness, not likeness, the actual picture of it in their advertising campaign. Use 1 or 2 of the pictures from the internet or from, I think it featured quite largely in the U magazine as well, that type of thing. So do use and insert some pictures as well, just to sort of add a bit of visual interest to your submission. All right. I think I'm going to leave it there. Is there any questions? So give me until the end of the week. I know there must still be a bit of confusion around what the shape and how this whole thing looks. Give me until the end of the week. I'll put together a Word document for you with clear instructions on it. You just follow those instructions. And if you still have a question, next week when we online again, you can come along with the question. So I'll post that by Friday, and you can have a look at it over the weekend. And if there's still questions, then you can ask me that next week, Tuesday. So that's on the submission. And yeah, that's about it. By this time, you should have connected with your groups already. By this time, you should have already worked out some sort of group contract in terms of contact, in terms of who's doing what, who's taking the lead, and so forth. Do pick a leader, a team leader, because sometimes having a team leader does sort of add a bit of structure. And now this is the thing with that group work. If by the end of week 5, you haven't come back to me, and this is important, please, I'm going to send out the email about this as well. If by the end of week 5, you haven't approached me to tell me about any issues that you're having in the group, then you're stuck with that group. I cannot put you into another group. There's only a few of you in the class, and there's only 3 to a group. And it's not fair to move you from one group to another group if that group has already gelled and come together and started working on it. By week 5, the only alternative that you have is to do this thing on your own. Now, there's already a penalty for doing that because the amount of work is just, it's a lot of work. So you're going to struggle with it. And I'm not going to have counseling sessions with group members where we've got a group together and I have to counsel them on how to work together. Please, that's not my role. I'm an online educator. I'm not a counselor. This is not a therapeutic environment. It's an educational environment. But I also understand the challenges that comes with working in groups. I fully understand that. So the option is there. If by week 5, you feel the group is still working together, you're having problems, or you find that, you know what, I don't want to work with these guys, or I don't want to work with these people, I just want to do it by myself. You drop me an email and I remove you from the group. I'm not going to communicate with the group. You have to communicate with the group and say, listen, guys, I'm out of here. I was given permission to do it by myself. But bearing in mind, if you do that, you're also jeopardizing their performance as well, because they will also then suffer without you. Instead of having a third person helping you, then now it's only 2 of them and you're doing it by yourself. So please do consider all of these things. If you do leave a group and you choose to do it by yourself, there's a penalty. Upwards of 15% of the total mark, because it is a group project and you're choosing not to do it in the group. But saying that, there is challenges. Sometimes a person in a group just disappears and you can't get hold of them. Just be gentle with each other, please, because life happens. Things happen. You don't know why that person disappeared. They might have been going through something. And they might be having a difficult time. So please don't, if you WhatsApping somebody and after 2 weeks they're not getting back to you, you drop me an email. Here, this guy, blah, 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 he's like, hey there, and I can't get hold of them. I don't want them in my group. Kick them out of the group because me and Tom is going to do this alone because this person isn't contributing and so forth. So please just be gentle with each other. A lot of you are older folk, a lot of you are mature students. You're working, you've got families, some of you. You are juggling work, you're juggling studies and family. And that is a challenge in itself. And now you're sitting in a group where 2 is working and the third one is just AWOL. So please do communicate these things with me early on. Do not leave it for the week of the submission and tell me now, sir, or Theo, I've tried for 7 weeks to get hold of this person. They never answered their WhatsApps. Then it's too late. Then I'm going to tell you, sorry, there's nothing I can do. Right. And also, please do not ask me to take their name off. they're part of your group, they will get the mark. There is a portion where you do peer evaluation, and that part, obviously, they'll get a 0 mark for. But please do not submit your assignment with one person's name off because they didn't contribute. Please communicate these things to me before the time. All right. Can I just have a confirmation that you understand all of that? Because that is quite an important that's quite an important thing, and it's quite important that you understand my approach to it.
I think you made yourself very clear. Thank you, Theo.
Okay. Please, you have until week 5. Please connect, find out people. If you can't get hold of them, use their SACAP email addresses. If you can't get hold of their SACAP email through their SACAP email address, and they're not on the WhatsApp group, you can actually get hold of one of the student counselors and say, listen, I'm in a class with this person. And what they can do is they can actually call them using their contact details, like their parents' contact details or alternative contact details. But just do something other than just sending them a WhatsApp and they don't respond, or email and they don't answer back. Okay, you can contact a counselor and say that, listen, I'm in Theo's class, we're doing this group project, this is a group. I've been contacting Joe. I can't get a hold of Joe. I sent him 2 WhatsApps. You can see as a screenshot of the WhatsApps. He hasn't responded. Is there a way in which you can try to make contact with him? Because we're actually a bit worried. The submission is in 3 weeks' time, and we're a bit worried that And that's always a good approach, because it means that you're saying that, listen, I'm actually concerned about my fellow student, as opposed to, I want to kick him out of my group type thing. Okay. Good stuff. Guys, thank you very much for your time, and for those that took the time to sign in. And I will post this recording tomorrow. Yeah, I'll post this recording tomorrow.